So as we start lying on our back, let your legs relax out. So your palms turn up to the ceiling. And then check in with your shoulder blades. Notice if they kind of peel up at any corner of your shoulder blade. If they do, see if maybe you could lift your chest away from the floor a little bit, maybe tuck your shoulder blades underneath you, and then let them rest back down. Notice if that helps find comfort in your neck and your shoulders. Letting our breath move in and out through our nose and our belly. Keeping our breath long, slow, and even. And bending our knees. Draw our knees into our chest. Give them a hug. Maybe drawing our forehead towards our knees, if that feels good for you. Maybe rock side to side, letting your shoulders and your head move with your lower body. And coming back to center, let's lift our feet up to the ceiling, rock forward and back. That's kind of waking up our core. Try not to use momentum in your movement, but rather using your core in your movement. And then come up to seated. Cross your legs, rise up tall through your spine. Hinge forward from your hips, hands come down to the floor, either fingertips or palms. Kind of checking in with your hips and how they feel. Then rise up, lean back, switch the cross of your legs. And then hinge forward from our hips. Hands can stay on your legs, they can be on the floor, you can be on fingertips or palms. And then slowly come back up, lift our knees up, switch the cross of our legs. Rising up tall, I want you to hug your ribs in, feel your belly hug in. and then roll your shoulders back, so kick your elbows back. And for many of us, this is a very strange position because when we hug our bellies in, we round our back. So I want you to think about lifting and lengthening your spine and hugging your belly in at the same time. This is creating a little more stability. And it's okay if your knees come up. Just see if you can hold on to this position. Then from here, we're going to take our hands, cross our chest. And I want you to hug your arms in like you're trying to give yourself a big hug. Keep the belly hugged in. And we're going to twist to the left, nice and slow. Try not to lean forward or back. We're just pivoting our upper body over our lower body, keeping the low belly hugged in so that we're not twisting through the low back. We're twisting from mid back up. And then slowly come back to center, keeping our belly hugged in, keeping our head in line with our body. Keep our arms hugged in tight so the arms are really working, hugging into our body. As if your hands were pressing into your shoulders. We're going to twist to the right. Again, keep the belly hugged in. And slowly come back to center. Keeping the belly hugged in. Noticing how you're letting go at very, very small proportions. You're not just getting one big movement. We're going to go back to the left one more time. Using our belly and our back to find the movement. Continue moving in your full range of motion. And then once you get in your full range of motion, I want you to round your back like a Halloween cat. Hug your belly in a little bit more. Keep pressing your hands into your shoulders. Driving your elbows down towards your ribs. And I want you to do that with effort, with a lot of effort. Think about 50 to 70% effort. Then very slowly rise back up. We're going to move into cow pose. So think about how you move through cat and cow. And I want you to lengthen across your belly, lift your chest up, keep your elbows hugged down. So we're not lifting our elbows up, we're going to push down really hard into our body. Still pressing our hands down, pressing our arms into each other, and then slowly come back to neutral. We're going to unwind our twist and take it over to the right. Notice if you're pushing through your hips or your legs. Can you just find that twist through your core? Squeezing our arms into our body like we're giving ourselves a giant hug. And then on our next exhale, let's round our back like a Halloween cow. Taking it nice and slow, pulling our elbows down towards the right side of our waist. And then slowly lift back up. We're going to move into cow pose, but I want you to keep your elbows and your arms hugging in really, really tight. Let the movement come only from our spine. Belly still hugged in. You should be working hard enough where your breath feels labored and your core may even be shaking. Slowly unwind. So we're not just letting it go. We're working to come back to center. And then releasing our arms. Let's sweep our feet over to one side. We're going to find cat-cow in the center of our mat. Spreading our fingers wide. Find a neutral spine. Joint stack. On our next inhale, open up our heart. Exhaling, rounding expanding our back. Dispersing the movement through our spine rather than hinging through one area. Continuing to flow with your breath. Then come back to a neutral spine. Let's walk our hands forward, coming into kneeling plank. Big toes reach towards the back of our mat. Draw our hips back towards our heels. Find extended child pose. So forehead and elbows stay lifted. Inhale, come back up, kneeling plank. Exhale, extended child pose. Check in with how you press down to your fingers, how your elbows are engaged, how you stabilize your body in movement. Inhaling as you come up. Exhale as you sink your hips back. Flow a couple more times. Then on our next inhale, come forward. Exhale, lower down to our belly. Let our forehead come down to the floor. And then we're going to take our hands, slide them back, turn your palms down, thumbs out, and find your fingertips resting on the floor. So your palms are lifted. Feel your elbows hug in towards your side. So now we're engaged through the shoulder blades. Now actively reaching our big toes towards the back of our mat. Press our knees into the mat. Press our tailbone down. Feel the length that you've created in your low back. Then on our next inhale, lift our forehead and hover. Just hovering about an inch off the ground. Lift our head a little bit higher, so we're only about 2 inches. Shoulder blades staying firm on our back, knees, tailbone pressing down. Lift up a little bit higher. Start to turn your gaze forward just a little bit. So we're returning the curve back to our neck as we continue to rise up very slowly. Engaging and stabilizing through our back. And again, dispersing the force, the strength that we're building in our back, dispersing it so it doesn't land in just one area. Feel our heart reach forward, feel your mid-back engaged, feel your shoulder blades engaged, making sure that we're not landing in our low back. Think about reaching our heart forward just as much as we're lifting up. Slowly lower down. We're not letting go of everything that we just created. We're slowly releasing it. Letting our forehead come down to the mat, turn our palms up. Let our shoulders relax down. We're going to do that a couple more times. Turning our palms down, fingertips on the floor, palms lifted, elbows hugged in. Activate our legs, reach our toes back, press our knees down, tailbone down. Lift our forehead, let it hover. Slowly rise up. Walk your hands back, turning your gaze forward. Breathing. Actively reaching our heart forward as much as we're lifting up. Slowly lower down. Turning our palms up, letting our forehead relax down, shoulders relax down, lower body soften. We're going to do that one more time. Turning our palms down, fingertips touching the floor. Arms are extended to a place that honors you, elbows hugged in tight. Activate the lower body. Reach your big toes back, knees down, tailbone down. Rise up nice and slow, turning our gaze forward, keeping length as we lift. Slowly lower down. Turning our palms up, letting our shoulders relax down as our forehead lands. Soften our lower body. Drawing our hands to the side of our chest. Hug our bellies in. Press up and back. Child's pose. Walk our hands underneath our shoulders. Lift ourselves up. We're going to take our blocks and place them in between our legs. So we're going to start with one that's narrow. It's going to go in between our knees, but keep your knees at a place that's comfortable for you. So the block can work around your legs. The other block is going to come on top in kind of a plus sign, or you can use a towel, so whatever you prefer. Placing your towel on top of your block. And this is just for elevation. Towel could be used for cushion. From here, take our hands down to the floor. Lower our belly onto our elevation, and then let our forehead relax down. Forearms are going to come down to the mat. Let our tailbone sink down. So we're kind of softening into a cat pose a little bit. And we're going to find that cat-cow, where we're going to be blocking off our lower body, our lower back just a little bit. We still have room to move through our pelvis, but we're going to really engage more through the upper and mid-back. Keeping our forearms on the mat, lift our head and let it hover. Now start to turn our gaze forward. Staying light through our arms, working through our back. You'll notice that your tailbone lifts up a little bit. Then I want you to squeeze your knees towards each other, but keep your tailbone lifted. So find that delicate balance between inner thighs working and tailbone lifting up. And then slowly lower down, softening the inner thighs, softening our tailbone down, bringing our forehead down to the mat, and relax. And again, give the block a gentle squeeze, or just draw your legs towards each other. Feel your hips rise up a little bit. Then lift your tailbone up, and then slowly lift our head, turning our gaze forward. Staying light through our arms, so we're not pushing through our arms. Holding and breathing. And kind of find that place where you can engage through the inner thighs, but it's not intense. Slowly lower down. Softening when our forehead lands. And we're going to do that again. Slight engagement of the inner thighs. Slowly lift our forehead. Turning our gaze forward. And then maybe lifting up a little bit higher. Slowly lowering down. Relaxing our lower body as we come down. This time we're going to take our hands out to the side, come up onto fingertips. Same way we do when we're in Cobra and we try to come up with fingertips. And then from here, we're going to slowly lift our head and turn our gaze forward. Let our tailbone rise up. Think about moving into cow pose. Now get really light through your fingertips. Maybe lift your fingers up, keep your thumbs down. Make sure you're not sinking into the thumb joints a lot. Or just lighten the load. Maybe lift just your thumb. Hug your belly in. And then slowly lower down. Bring your forearms down and relax. Drawing our hands back out, come on to fingertips. Now I want you to line your hands with your shoulders. So don't try and draw them back a lot. Maybe just take them forward a little bit. And then lifting our head, turning our gaze forward, drawing our tailbone up. Get really light through your hands. Notice is it a little bit easier? Maybe lifting our hands up. Breathing. Hands come down, lower down, forehead relaxes, then your arms get to relax. So taking this only to the variations that feel like work, that feel like maybe you're struggling a little bit, but not to the place where you feel unsuccessful in your movement. So when you start gripping through other areas of your body more than you're gripping to the areas you want, then you've lost that success. So hands are going to come to the shoulders or a little bit further forward, or if you want to make it harder, they go back. Come up onto fingertips. Lifting our head, turning our gaze forward. Rise up from there. Play around with it. Get light through your fingers, maybe lifting your hands. Breathing. Let our hands come back down. Lower our forehead down and relax. Keeping our hands on the floor, press ourselves up. Release our props out from underneath us. And we're going to come to downward facing dog. So walking our hands forward, spreading our fingers wide. Curl our toes under, lift our knees, drawing our hips back, just kind of checking in with how. And from here, lower our knees down to the mat. We're going to come forward, keeping our toes curled under, bend our elbows, lower our chin and our chest down towards the mat. Then slowly slide yourself forward, releasing your belly onto the mat. We're going directly into Cobra. Lower all the way down, hug our bellies in, press up, curling our toes under, lift our knees, downward facing dog. Bend your knees, lower them down to the mat. Keep your toes curled under. Lift our chest, come forward. We're in kneeling plank with toes curled under. Bend our elbows, turn our gaze forward, lower our chest and our chin down to the mat, but our hips are still lifted. Slide yourself forward, rolling your shoulders back and down for Cobra. Hands stay light. Lower all the way down, hug our bellies in, up and back, downward facing dog. We're going to do that one more time. Lower our knees down, keep our toes curled under. Slowly come forward. Turn our gaze forward, bend our elbows, lower our chest, and our chin goes forward, bring it down, hips stay lifted. Slide yourself forward, roll your shoulders back and down, reach your toes back. And lower all the way down, slide your hands underneath your forehead and relax. Slide our hands around to the side of our chest. Hug our bellies in. Press up and back, downward facing dog. Walk forward, front of our mat. And fold. Hands come to our elbows. Let gravity lengthen through our upper back. Releasing our hands, inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, fold. Right foot steps back, lunge. Rise all the way up, hands reach up to the ceiling. And take our elbows, bring them down, cross our forearms. Place our hands on our shoulders. Squeeze our arms into our body really tight. Hug our bellies in a lot. Twist to the left. And then round our back like a Halloween cat. Slowly lift up. And unwind our twist. Hands come down to the mat. Shift our weight forward into our front foot, lift our back foot, and hold, lengthening through our spine. Reach our heart forward. Bend our knees, place our foot on the floor, and fold. Step our left foot back. Lunge. Find your foundation. Rise up. Hands reach up to the ceiling. Then bring our forearms across our chest. Actively press our hands into our shoulders. Hug our elbows in, giving ourselves a nice big hug. Hug our belly in a lot. Twist to the right. Once you found your full range of motion, round your back like a Halloween cat. Hugging the belly in, reaching our elbows down towards our ribs. Then slowly rise back up. Find a neutral spine, unwind our twist. And release our hands down to the mat. Shift our weight forward, lift our back foot, and hold. Lengthening our spine, reach our heart forward. Bend left knee, Bring our left foot underneath us and plant it and fold. Let our head hang, neck and shoulders relax. Bend our knees, lower them down to the mat. Curl our toes under. Walk our hands back towards our knees. We're stretching the bottom of our feet. Maybe walk your hands up your thighs. Maybe bring your shoulders over your head. Rolling your shoulders back and down. From here, we're going to lower our chin down towards our throat. Turn our chin to the left. Lift our right ear up. Left ear goes back. And slowly turn our chin up towards the ceiling. Chin comes over to the right. Lower our left ear down. Slide our chin across our collarbone and back to center. And then turn our chin to the right. Lift our left ear up. Rotate our chin across the ceiling and over to the left. Right ear comes forward and down. Sweeping our chin across our collarbone and back to center. Lift our head up to neutral. Slide our hands down to the floor. Release the tops of our feet. Keep our heels pointed up, big toes pointing back. We're going to grab a seat on our heels. Stretching across the top of our thighs. And we're going to find that rotation again, but this time I want you to do it with resistance. So hug your belly in a lot. Take your hands, make a fist. Engage your arms, hug your arms into your side, get really, really firm. And then lower your chin. Sweep our chin over to the right. Lift our left ear up. Sweep your chin across the ceiling. Over to the left. Slowly lower your right ear down. Sweep your chin back to center. And then back to the left. And then lift your right ear up. Keep that tension working through your neck. Chin comes over across the ceiling to the right. And then left ear comes forward. Sweep your chin across your collarbone, back to center, and relax. Hands come back down to the mat. Spread your fingers wide. Curl your toes under, downward facing dog. Checking in with how we feel through our head, our neck, our shoulders, our upper back. And walk forward in front of our mat and fold. Right foot steps back. Rise up tall, sweeping our hands up to the ceiling. Take our left hand to our front thigh. Make a fist with our right hand. Hug our right shoulder blade down our back. Turn your fingers out. And then rotate your arm back behind you, keeping your ribs pointing forward. Don't let your ribs rotate with. Fingers are going to stay out, knuckles stay in. Keep rotating your arm as you sweep your arm forward. And then sweep your arm back. As your arm comes up, start to rotate your arm so that your fingers now point in or your thumb points in. And then release both hands down to the mat. Step back, downward facing dog. Right foot steps forward. Walk your hands back if you need to. Drive your heel back heel back. Make sure you have a strong foundation. Then rise up. Hands reach up to the ceiling. Take your right hand to your front thigh. Make a fist with your left hand. Make it really strong. Turn your palm away from your body. So your fingertips are pointing away. Keep your ribs pointing forward. Don't let them rotate as you sweep your left hand back. Keep that arm rigid and strong. Keep rotating your arm as you bring it back and down. Keeping it slow, then slowly reaching your left arm back. Light rotation, a little bit at a time. As you bring your arm up, arm stays rigid and strong. By the time your hand gets up, your fingers are pointing towards your body. Then relax your fist, take both hands down to the mat. Step back, downward facing dog. Let your heels soften down. Lower your knees down to the mat. Crawl forward to the front of your mat. And we're going to flip over onto our back. Once on our backs, let's lift our arms up to the ceiling. Draw our arms back behind us. Want to relax down. Remember to honor your shoulders. If you need to take your arms wide, take them wide. You need to bend your elbows, bend your elbows. Let your feet relax out. Notice where you hold your ribs. Many of you will find that you feel a little bit better through your shoulders. Your arms are able to relax back a little bit better with a little better alignment, and your ribs can stay down. From here, bend your elbows, slide your elbows out to the side, creating goalpost arms. Bend your knees. Lower your knees over to the left. Keep your right shoulder down. Lift your knees up. Bring them over to the right. Lift your knees up. Walk your feet wide. And then lower your knees over to the left. Lifting our knees up, take them over to the right. Lifting our knees up, walk our feet to center, bring the bottoms of our feet together, take our knees out wide. Maybe reaching our arms back behind us again, keeping our shoulder blades flat on the floor. Maybe actively reaching our upper arms towards our head, straightening our arms, extending out through our fingers. Making sure whatever variation you're choosing, that it feels good for your body. Relax through your arms, your shoulders. Start to bring your elbows back to your side, palms face up. Lift our knees. Walk our feet out wide. Options to support your body for Shavasana in any position that feels good for you. So maybe underneath your knees, maybe underneath your neck, maybe underneath your upper back. So finding what feels good for your body, and feel free to support it. Once you find your comfortable variation of Shavasana, close our eyes. drawing our awareness back to our body. Our breath begin to deepen. Right movement back into our fingers, our toes, our hands, our feet. Roll out our wrists, our ankles. Depending on the position we're in, if it feels comfortable for you, maybe bend your knees and then draw one knee into your chest at a time, finding some movement through your hips, your low back. Maybe draw your knees into your chest, extending your legs, and repeat that movement. Maybe making circles with your knees. Bring your knees down together and move together. And reverse the direction. Again, make sure this honors the position that you're in. If you chose a restorative position, this may not be the right movement for where you're supported. Bring our knees back to center. Let our feet come down to the floor. Roll over to our right side and press ourselves up, keeping our eyes closed. And then once we find our seated position, let's take our hands to our knees, round our back, and then lift our chest. Finding a seated cat-cow. And one more time. And back to center, twist side to side. Let it be gentle. Passive movement. Back to center. Bring our hands together in front of our heart. Feeling in all that we found in this practice today. Gentle movement, strength, stability, range of motion, and many variations, many positions. Namaste.